صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله عليه وسلم.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a human being, and he used to sit like human beings. And it doesn't mean that you can't sit comfortably. So he had sometimes cushions or a pillow that he would lean on, as we will hear from these hadith. Jabir ibn Samurah, may Allah be pleased with him, said, I saw the Prophet of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam leaning on a cushion on his left side. The other hadith, Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the Prophet once asked us alayhi salatu wasalam, should I tell you about the greatest of the major sins? They said, yes indeed, O Prophet of Allah. He said, associating partners with Allah and recalcitrance against parents, being undutiful, being disrespectful. And then the Prophet ﷺ sat down and he was leaning on a support, on a cushion and a pillow. He was, while talking, doing this, then he stood and sat erect, and he added and false testimony or false speech. And he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, went on speaking, repeating it, false testimony or false speech, false testimony or false speech. He used to, or he continued to repeat it until we said, if only he would keep silent, meaning they felt so sorry for the Prophet ﷺ. They wished that he would stop because they felt the emotional stress on him, repeating false speech and foul speech and testimony, false testimony. So they wished that he took it easy upon himself and stopped. And the final hadith of Abu Juhfa, may Allah be pleased with him, he said that the Prophet of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam said, as for me, I do not eat while leaning on a support. Abu Juhfa also said that the Prophet ﷺ said, I do not eat while leaning on a support. I do not eat while leaning on a support. And Jabir ibn Samurah, may Allah be pleased with him, said that I saw the Prophet of Allah ﷺ leaning on a cushion. What do we understand from these hadiths? We understand that while sitting down normally, it is permissible for you to lean on a cushion or on a pillow. It's part of hospitality when you get guests coming to you that you host them and give them a pillow or a cushion to lean on while sitting, as per the hadith, as the Prophet did this so many times with a lot of his guests. And also, it shows us that it is not part of the Islamic etiquette to eat while leaning on a cushion, because this is what the people of power and luxury and extravagance do. This is not the way that the Prophet used to eat, alayhi salam. This is why he emphasized, I do not eat while leaning on a cushion. And we will get to know in later stages how he used to sit when he ate, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As for the hadith where the Prophet is indicating to the companions the greatest forms of major sins, he was leaning down while talking to them casually, associating others with Allah, being disrespectful and undutiful with your parents. And then he stood straight to emphasize the importance of the third aspect, which is false testimony or false speech. Why? Is it greater than shirk or being undutiful to your parents? No. See, shirk is something that your own nature would not tell you to do, because this is against human nature, and it's against that a Muslim heart would be inclined to seeking refuge in other than Allah. Being undutiful and ungrateful and disrespectful to your parents is what humans by nature don't have. They're made to respect and love and care for their parents. While false testimony and false speech is something that people would disregard and take lightly, especially when there is money involved. So the Prophet is warning the Muslims from falling into such a sin, because it would jeopardize their Islam and their belief. If you go to courts today, you will find me, for example, coming to a friend and say, listen, I need you to come to court to testify that my mother is alive. I said, okay. And the judge asks the witness, have you seen his mother? I said, no. Do you know where she is? I said, no. How do you testify that she's alive? I said, he told me she was alive. This is false testimony. This is shahadatul zur. You cannot testify except on what you have seen with your own eyes and heard with your own ears, as if you're looking at the sun in the middle of the day. Otherwise, do not testify. It's one of the greatest and major sins in Islam. Other than that, you can sit and lean on your couch because you're not eating. There's nothing wrong in that at all, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad.
Sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.